Freddie Scappaticci, an Irish member of the IRA, was identified in the Kenova report as a British intelligence informant with the codename Stakeknife. As part of the IRA Internal Security Unit, Scappaticci played a significant role. In 2003, reports surfaced claiming that he had been working covertly for British intelligence as their highest-ranking agent within the IRA. However, both the IRA and Scappaticci publicly denied any collaboration with British intelligence. Born on January 12, 1946, in Belfast, Scappaticci was the son of Mary Murray and Danny Scappaticci, an Italian immigrant who arrived in the city in the 1920s. In 1970, Scappaticci was fined for riotous assembly during the early years of the Troubles. A year later, at 25, he was detained without trial at Long Kesh as part of Operation Demetrius. During his internment, he was held alongside future key Republican figures such as Ivor Bell, Gerry Adams, and Alex Maskey. Though he was a low-ranking member of the Provisional IRA at the time, he returned to work in construction after his release, where he later faced questioning from police regarding his involvement in a suspected tax fraud scheme. By 1980, Freddie Scappaticci had become a key figure in the IRA Northern Command's Internal Security Unit, which was responsible for counterintelligence and investigating potential leaks within the organization. The ISU's main role was to identify and expose informers, known as touts, within the IRA. Scappaticci played a critical role in investigating compromised operations and suspected informants. The ISU, also referred to as the Nutting Squad, gained notoriety for executing informers by shooting them in the back of the head. Scappaticci was linked to 18 killings carried out by the ISU, including the murders of 2 senior police officers and an alleged informer named Joe Fenton. When the allegations about his double role surfaced in 2003, Scappaticci, living in the Riverdale area of West Belfast at the time, claimed that he had left the IRA in 1990 to care for his ill wife. He denied any involvement with British intelligence and subsequently left Northern Ireland, entering witness protection. He reportedly lived in areas like Cheshire and Manchester, where his brother resided, and later moved to a gated community in London. There, he appeared in Westminster Court and was cleared of alleged sex offences. In 2017, Scappaticci briefly returned to Belfast for his 99-year-old father's funeral. His wife remained in Belfast, and from 2004 onwards they lived apart, though they reportedly stayed in contact and occasionally vacationed together until her passing in 2019. Around this period, Scappaticci was believed to be living in Guildford. Freddie Scappaticci's alleged involvement with British intelligence is said to have begun in 1978, 2 years before the establishment of the Force Research Unit in 1980, which centralized Army intelligence under the Intelligence Corps. He is believed to have initially worked as an informant for the RUC Special Branch after being questioned by the RUC Fraud Squad regarding a construction industry tax scam. Facing the prospect of prison, Scappaticci reportedly agreed to act as a low-level informer. A former FRU agent, writing under the pseudonym Martin Ingram, detailed in his 2004 book Stakeknife that Scappaticci eventually rose to become Agent 6126, a highly valuable asset managed by British Army intelligence through the FRU. Ingram stated that Scappaticci's importance as an intelligence source became apparent in 1982 after he was arrested for drunk driving. According to Ingram, Scappaticci was viewed as the crown jewels, the most prized agent under FRU control, earning an annual salary of £80,000. Ingram levied several accusations against him, particularly focusing on individuals killed by the IRA Internal Security Unit between 1980 and 1990. He also claimed that Scappaticci provided key intelligence on IRA operations, including the 1981 kidnapping of Irish supermarket magnate Ben Dunn, with Scappaticci allegedly identifying the kidnappers to authorities. A 1983 plot to kidnap Canadian businessman Galen Weston, which was planned at Weston's estate near Dublin. The the kidnapping of supermarket executive Don Tidy from his Dublin home, which Scappaticci reportedly alerted the FRU about. This led to a clash that resulted in the deaths of Garda trainee Gary Sheehan and Irish Army soldier Private Patrick Kelly. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Scappaticci is believed to have worked closely with FRU handlers to solidify his standing within the IRA. However, controversy surrounds claims made by Ingram that the FRU killed individuals who might have exposed Scappaticci as an informant. Stakeknife is alleged to have served as an FRU informant for 25 years, acting as a double agent involved in the IRA's torture and execution of suspected informers while being employed by British intelligence. Operation Kenova was later launched by the British government to investigate claims that the RUC had neglected to investigate up to 18 murders to keep Stakeknife's identity concealed. In 1987, Sam McCrory, a member of the UDA, murdered 66-year-old Francisco Notarantonio at his home in Ballymurphy, West Belfast. Notarantonio, a Republican sympathizer, was unknowingly targeted by the FRU as part of a scheme to divert attention away from Freddie Scappaticci. It is alleged that FRU agent Brian Nelson provided Notarantonio's name to the UDA in order to protect Scappaticci's identity. On May 11, 2003, the Sunday Herald, a Glasgow-based newspaper, publicly identified Scappaticci as Stakeknife, a British spy who had infiltrated the IRA at its highest levels for more than 2 decades. Scappaticci denied these allegations and unsuccessfully attempted to take legal action against the British government to force a public denial of his involvement as an agent. In February 2007, the Belfast newsletter reported on a cassette recording, allegedly of Scappaticci, detailing the number of murders he was involved in through the IRA's Nutting Squad and his activities as a British Army agent. The recording had been handed over to the Police Service of Northern Ireland in 2004 and later passed to the Stevens Inquiry in 2005. In 1993, Freddie Scappaticci approached the ITV program The Cook Report and agreed to be interviewed about his involvement in the IRA and the alleged role of Martin McGuinness within the organization. The first interview occurred on August 26, 1993, in the car park of the Culloden Hotel in Coultra, County Down. Unbeknownst to Scappaticci, the interview was secretly recorded and later featured in an edition of the show. When the 2003 allegations against Scappaticci surfaced, the interview was posted online. During the interview, Scappaticci provided detailed insights into the operations of the IRA's Northern Command, admitted to some of his activities within the organization, and claimed that Martin McGuinness had been involved in the killing of Frank Hegarty. Hegarty, an IRA volunteer, was killed in 1986 for allegedly acting as an informer. It was later suggested that Scappaticci was familiar with the circumstances of Hegarty's execution because, as a member of the IRA's internal security unit, he had participated in Hegarty's interrogation and killing, which related to a Libyan arms cache discovered by the Garda. According to Martin Ingram, Hegarty was an FRU agent whom other members of the FRU had helped rise within the IRA to gain the trust of key figures. Scappaticci's situation worsened when Sir John Stevens, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, who was investigating collusion between British security forces and loyalist paramilitaries, knew of his existence. Stevens was looking into the killings of Protestant student Brian Adam Lambert in 1987 and solicitor Pat Finucane in 1989. In April 2004, Stevens announced his intention to question Scappaticci as part of the third Stevens inquiry. A February 2007 report in the Belfast newsletter detailed a cassette recording, allegedly of Freddie Scappaticci, discussing his involvement in multiple murders through the IRA's Nutting Squad and his role as a British Army agent. The recording, submitted to the PSNI in 2004, was passed to the Stevens inquiry in 2005. It remains unclear whether this audio was connected to the Cook Report investigation. Various media reports about Scappaticci being Stakeknife contained inconsistencies. The provisional IRA, however, reportedly accepted Scappaticci's denials and publicly suggested that claims he was a tout were a British government tactic to discredit Sinn Féin and the broader Republican movement. In January 2018, Scappaticci was arrested in connection with offences such as murder and abduction, but was later released on bail. On December 5, 2018, Westminster Magistrates Court sentenced him to 3 months in prison, suspended for 1 year, after he pleaded guilty to possessing extreme pornographic images, including those involving animals. The discovery of this material occurred during an investigation into serious crimes from the Troubles. In August 2024, Ian Livingstone, former head of Operation Kenova, revealed that MI5 had not disclosed all information it possessed regarding Stakeknife before the operation published its report earlier that year. Livingstone, along with John Boucher, the former head of Kenova, had previously believed they had full access to MI5 files on Stakeknife. In a letter to key officials, including Secretary of State for Northern Ireland Hilary Benn and the head of MI5, Livingstone expressed concerns about the hundreds of pages of undisclosed documents still under review, which could lead to new evidence or challenge findings from Operation Kenova. The files, according to Livingstone, were specifically related to Stakeknife, not other Kenova investigations such as Denton. Sinn Féin MP John Finucane called it disgraceful and unsurprising that British intelligence had withheld information from the inquiry. He criticised the British government's Shameful Legacy Act for limiting families' access to courts and expressed frustration over the delay in the Kenova report's publication, which had been set for release before Christmas 2024. This delay, Finucane said, would deepen the anguish of victims' families who had long awaited the truth. He urged investigators to handle the new material thoroughly and swiftly. As a result, the final Kenova report, initially scheduled for publication in late 2024, has been postponed until 2025 to allow time for reviewing the newly disclosed information. On April 11, 2023, it was announced that Freddie Scappaticci had passed away the previous week at the age of 77. Sir John Wilsey, a general who commanded the British Army in Northern Ireland from 1983 to 1990, described Stakeknife as the most valuable agent within military intelligence during the Troubles, referring to him as the Golden Egg. According to Wilsey, Stakeknife was instrumental in saving hundreds and hundreds of lives. Scappaticci was also suspected of alerting British security forces about the 1988 IRA operation in Gibraltar, during which 3 IRA members were killed. That's it for today's video. Let us know in the comments section what you think of the Stakeknife story, and I will see you on the next video. Stay safe.